The waters of the Caribbean Sea off the coast of Belize are as clear as polished glass. Below the surface, a stunning coral reef stretches the length of the country's coastline. Nurse sharks stop by for a quick welcome visit. Given the beauty, it is no surprise this Central American nation has become an increasingly popular tourist playground. The secret, as they say, is out. And once it's out, you can't hide the attraction, nor can you hide the warts. Michael Parafit is the Attorney General.
We're a growing millennial, third world country, so to speak, and so we have growing pains.
Belize is indeed a millennial nation. It was 1981 that Belize gained independence from Great Britain. It is the youngest democracy in the region. But along with independence has come those growing pains, the warts, debt, unemployment at 9%, the murder rate one of the highest in the world, drugs, rapid uncontrolled coastal development, past government corruption. Independence, officials acknowledge, has not been easy.
Of course it's tough. You're saying to your parents, I'm a man now, I want to be my own man, I want my own house and my own apartment. And then you say to yourself, well, now I know why my father was so tough when I left the lights on. So when you become independent, you also have to become more responsible.
Much of that responsibility has gone into an effort to enhance education. New programs are in place to encourage poor families to vaccinate their children, send them to and keep them in school through high school. If they do, the families receive a small monthly allowance. Patrick Faber is Deputy Prime Minister.
Because our population is so young, much of our activities are geared towards the issues with our young people. We spend almost a quarter of our budget on education and youth and sports in this country. So it's very important, and it's a key time given that we're such a young nation.
A young nation with an even younger population. Most of the 340,000 Belizeans were not born when this country became independent. About 70% of the population of Belize is 30 years old or younger. That's right, 70%. So one of the biggest challenges for this nation is creating jobs for this new generation. Right now, Belize is faced with a situation where many of the best and brightest of the millennial generation simply leave for better opportunities.
We have our young people that get educated, they get qualified, and they leave. We want the people who are trained, people who are capable, people who want to work. We want them to be invested in the country, to see Belize as the place where they have no choice. This is where I live.
It is a major issue, and how to get them to come back and to contribute is one of our struggles.
Just got a big order today.
Dean Fuller runs Full Tech Systems, a computer company in Belize City. There are job opportunities, as Fuller says, ripe for the picking.
Belize is a country filled with low-hanging fruits.
Fuller started his business a quarter century ago in Texas, but came back to Belize for the opportunities he saw here. Today, he says, young people don't have to leave the country to make a living. What is it that you think that the young people in Belize need to focus on as far as where the future is going to be as far as jobs go? What do they need to focus on?
Technology.
Technology.
Definitely.
Some government officials believe job growth could come from banking. They see Belize developing as a major banking center for the region, and there is a growing call center industry.
Right now in Belize, it's very basic. These call centers perform very basic services, but the services, if we train our people properly, could get to a higher level technically, and it could provide very good employment, very good monies to bolster our economy.
But right now, those jobs don't exist, and many of the young people here end up just hanging on the street and making, as they say, bad choices. This is Belize City's South Side. Every week, every month, every year, young people are dying here, murdered. Rampant gang warfare.
He was murdered a year ago right there. He was going to buy a milkshake, taking his little cousin to go buy a milkshake.
Dianne Finnegan knows these streets. She runs a youth apprenticeship program to steer the kids away from gang life and perhaps death.
They both died.
How old was the cousin?
7 years old.
Finnegan's program began with 35 young people 7 years ago who dropped out of school and had run-ins with the law. Today, 150 are enrolled in her program. Her organization finds jobs for them and gets them back in school.
It allows them to pick up the pieces. It opens that door for them to understand that not because you've made mistakes, it means that your life is over, that you must settle for second best. No, we're saying, what were your dreams before you fell? Who did you want to be before you made the mistakes you made? Because those opportunities are still there.
Every day, Finnegan works the streets looking to save another life. Everyone knows Dianne. She took us to meet with gang leaders. They call him Big Mike. He didn't want us to show his face.
The reoccurring circle, and it's getting worse and worse because the younger generation, they don't see no future. They're growing up every day seeing that there's no future, so they don't care. So they keep on this cycle of violence, drugs. They're trying to find an escape, but there's no escape from this life.
Do you see Belize having a future the way things are now?
The way things are right now, I don't see any future unless some miracle happen and people open their eyes and see what's actually happening. A couple months ago, you have so many thousand youths that graduated from school, high school, university. Where are those people? Do they have a job to go to? And then they want to tell them don't hang on the street. So where I'm going to go? I don't have a job. I'm angry in my home because I can't provide for my family. I got to be out here trying to make a little 1-2 to stay alive.
Staying alive has been anything but easy for Guyon. At 32 years old, he's been on the streets for nearly half his life, deeply involved in gang life.
This is where the bullet entered, and it exited here.
Guyon was shot a year ago. He's in a wheelchair now, trying to regain the use of his legs.
The young man that shot you, you said he was a kid.
Yep, he's a kid. Right now he's about 15, about 14, 15 right now. Still a kid going about.
Well, why did they come after you?
Well,
do you know?
Actually, they say because then me, when I was there, my area, that I'm the boss of my area.
Do you worry that you can't get out, that somebody's always going to be coming after you?
That's what I realized when it's too late. You know, it's not possible to you to get out. To me, well, it's not possible to get out because if I try to change no matter how long, eventually someone will come that I don't know, didn't expect, and it will happen.
In fact, a rival gang came after him again at his mother's house. They missed him, but injured his mother and young niece.
Now, I really wish I didn't been in the streets, you know. I wish I continued the road that I was treading when I first, you know.
You were in high school?
Yeah, I was in high school, you know. One of the best high school in Belize, you know, in my country, and I threw that all away, you know.
You threw it away?
Threw it all away.
You regret that?
Very much.
While violent crime is an acknowledged problem here, the word you hear most in any discussion about crime is perception. Everyone we spoke with said the perception is worse than the reality. Much of the violence is confined to the slums of Belize City, where rival gangs battle for turf and drugs. The United States has long maintained that some cocaine and marijuana coming from Colombia and Mexico flows through Belize.
Do you think Belize over the years got a bad rap as a transshipment point? Because, you know, that's what we always heard in the U.S. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I don't think it was ever as bad as what people said it was. We were not a country where you had participation of Belizean people in the movements of tons of cocaine and stuff like that. I don't see that, because then our question would be, where's the money? We don't see it.
While visitors have been victims of violent crime in the past, tourist areas are considered relatively safe. For the government, getting a handle on crime and changing the perception is a priority.
When I'm away and I read the news, I'm like, wow. And then when I'm here, it doesn't feel like it's that bad. So you have to kill that perception that if you come here, you're gonna die. It's not gonna happen. Even my own family who were born and bred here, they think, oh man, I don't go to Belize City because it's a problem. Right. So yes, we have to fix it, and the presence of crime is an issue. And we try to fight every day to try and address it.
You design it yourself?
Growing the economy, creating jobs will help. Belize has vast tracts of open land, ideal for expanding the country's #1 industry, agriculture. Citrus, bananas, and sugarcane are the primary crops. Tourism is growing exponentially. Nearly every day, 2 or 3 cruise ships sit off the coast. Visitors head to the islands to snorkel and dive. New resorts continue going up, but the profits don't always end up in the hands of Belizeans.
And we're tired of seeing people who come from abroad to Belize develop, and we're like, well, why didn't one of us do that? But we were not born with that spirit, it seems like.
And after being under colonialism for so long, and we get our independence, that we're very, very wise to entities coming in to try to take over. And so while it is we need to do the delicate dance of trying to survive, we are also very mindful that we don't want to go back in a situation where there's the master.
The mountains in the distance are called the Sleeping Giant. Many people here who love their country, want it to thrive, believe it too is a sleeping giant, waiting to awake from its slumber.